Hey everyone, John Lorden here. Welcome to a very special Brainscratch Searchlight update. I know some of you might be expecting a new case today. I made my promise to all of you that I'm going to feature a brand new case every single week on Searchlight this year. I'm still going to do that, but we're bumping it to tomorrow. I have a lot of updates this week. I'm trying to get them all in. Quite honestly, I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to get them all in this week. So moving the schedule around a little bit. Maybe that means you guys get an extra video on the weekend. I'm not sure. I'm still waiting for some information back on the Emmanuel. I don't know if it's Bochi or Boachi, but basically his his foster mother is in contact with me now. I've been running some questions by her to get a bit more explanation on that case, a bit of a better understanding. We're right in the middle of that process. I was hoping it was going to be done by today, but it's not. So probably a bonus video at some point this week. But we do have another very important update. This is from a case that I covered about 10 months ago. But interestingly, it's a case where a little girl disappeared in 2009. We have part of the answer of what happened to her, and of course we have many new questions. Let's go ahead and jump to the screen share so we can take a look at an article from the Washington Post. Of course, I'm talking about Lindsey Baum. We've brought Lindsey home. Remains of 10-year-old girl who vanished in 2009 have been found. Somewhere in the 4 blocks between our house and her friend's house in rural Washington state, a 10-year-old girl disappeared in 2009 and was never heard from again. If any of you are curious, a lot of these articles are kind of going over the whole story again. If you guys want to see my take on it, I'm going to have a link in the description box below, so that way you can get much more of the details of the original story. But let's see what happened with this update. Nearly 10 years later, the search for Lindsey ended. Here we see a picture of her. Last September, hunters found remains in a remote part of eastern Washington. The remains were brought to an FBI lab in Virginia for DNA analysis. Several months later, Grays Harbor County Sheriff Rick Scott, who has been involved in the investigation since 2009, announced that they were Lindsey's remains. And I know I've seen some commentary about why did it take so long, for the testing to be done. I don't know that they associated it with this case right off the bat when those remains were found. So I'm not sure if there was a lot of pressure to get the DNA testing done as quickly as possible. Investigators believe the girl was kidnapped after she left her friend's home that night. Now, we need to find a homicide suspect. Sheriff Rick Scott promised to, quote, bring the monster that's responsible for this and hold them accountable. There's someone out there that knows who did this and how this happened. And there's people out there that have information that would be the nugget that we need to explode this investigation and culminate in an arrest, he told reporters Saturday. We need those people to have the courage to come forward and share that information anonymously through a text message, however it is they wish to convey that. I'm going to have some contact information in the description box below, and let me just echo that basically I want to plead with you guys. If you're one of those people that has some part of this puzzle, please send it in. We're talking about remains that have been found 9 years later. The likelihood that they're even going to be able to identify the cause of death, probably relatively low. I'm hopeful that maybe there was other evidence left around the area where her remains were. We're going to get a little update on their search effort there on that in a moment. However, if you are part of this puzzle, if you know someone that's part of this puzzle, if you have some critical piece of information, please consider using that contact info below to get it in and to give these guys a shot at really making someone pay for what has happened to this 10-year-old girl. It's, I think because of the conditions of, we know what a short walk it was from her friend's house to her home. We now know that she's found in the woods somewhere. I think we know something bad happened. It's more than likely that someone is involved with this. So I get why they're coming out so strong. They're calling this a homicide up front. They're saying they're looking for the person right off the bat. I think they're going to need help. So if you are a person that is able to do that, please do the right thing. Find it within yourself. It's in there somewhere. Pick up the phone, send an email, do something to get that information forward. So in terms of the location, they're still not being completely clear on the location, but here over at Crime Online, we get some more information. And I want to give a quick shout out to Lee Egan. I see her frequently in sources that I bring up, and I don't always call her out, but I really like her coverage. So I just wanted to say thank you, Lee, for your coverage on this type of stuff. Search and rescue teams have been looking for evidence for the past few days in Catitas County, Washington. Yet the crew announced they had no plans to resume the search on Monday. KIRO 7 reports that close to 24 search and rescue workers have been scouring the remote area. So I'm pretty sure that they set up some type of perimeter from where the remains were found and a certain distance out, and they probably feel confident that over the past few days that they've searched that area thoroughly. I'm wondering if they're potentially trying to find roads to where that area was, if they're looking in those locations also. I really haven't heard anything to that effect, but I'm really hopeful that they found some type of evidence out there. You never know. Piece of clothing, something that fell out of a person's pocket. There could be something out there to hopefully tie this case back to the person that did this horrible act. On top of that, I just wanted to give you guys another quick update, and that is on a case that has really moved me in many ways, and that is the case of Liam Colgan. It's such a heartbreaking case on the outset. It's one of those situations we never want to hear about, but we keep hearing about, where a young man, bright future, well-liked, goes out drinking, maybe has too much, is walking around waterways, and unfortunately somehow winds up a victim of that situation. We hear it time and time again. But on top of that, you had the twist here of it was his brother's bachelor party. His brother was supposed to be getting married soon. Of course, anyone that has followed the case along with me, you know that the wedding was postponed. I'll have links once again in the description box down below. But let's go ahead and just take a quick update on this as well over at dailymail.co.uk. From the 11th of May, 2018. A groom-to-be whose brother disappeared on his stag party in Germany paid an emotional tribute to him at his funeral today. Liam Colgan's brother, Eamon, described him as a force of nature and a party in a full or empty room. Friends and family gathered at John Fraser and Son Funeral Home in Inverness on Friday to pay their respects to the 29-year-old. Eamon, who is to marry Susan Dolan in October, so it's nice to hear that the wedding has been rescheduled and is ongoing, said Liam was an incredible uncle to his two nieces. He added, "Liam was to be my best man. He was very proud I had asked him, even though he initially believed I chose him as an easy option. The reason I had asked him was not only because he was my brother, but because he was one of my best friends. We know Liam would be very upset with us if we didn't go ahead with the wedding. We know Liam will be there with us in spirit." And when I read that comment, it just really sunk in with me, because one of the things of the many cases that I've covered on this channel, the outpouring of support from friends of his, thanking me for doing the coverage, wondering if there's anything else that they could do to help. It is clear that many, many people really love Liam and wanted to help find him and to be a part of that. And I'm more than sure that this statement that he will be there in spirit is absolutely true, because his spirit was pouring through in his friends just in their contact with me. Around 400 people attended the service, with dozens having to stand as the venue reached its seating capacity. So I just wanted to share that with you guys as well. We got some pictures here. You can see just tons and tons of people showing up for this funeral. Quite honestly, if I was on the other side of the world, I probably would have done my best to have been there also as well, just to show support to this family for this terrible time that they're going through. But if any of you happen to see this, please know my heart is with you, and I'm really thankful that you know what happened, that there's not a big mystery around this. You know, a lot of times in these cases, like the case that we just talked about before, the first answer of where the person is all of a sudden comes with a ripple of other questions. At least in Liam's case, we're fairly certain we know what happened, and the family can grieve and move forward and continue to celebrate his life in their own celebration of bringing two lives together, which I think is kind of beautiful. And I just wanted to end this video on a bit of a bright spot by talking about that aspect. So thanks to all of you out there that care about these cases like I do. I really couldn't do it without your guys' support. You know, the last few weeks in particular have really been invigorating and draining in a bit of an unusual way for me. There's something about CrimeCon that has just pushed me in a little bit of a new direction, kind of relit my fire, but in a way that I didn't expect before. I'm working very hard on several cases right now. I also want to say thank you to everyone for being so supportive of my decision to bring Philip on the channel. I think that is a really good step in terms of helping that case, and it's awesome that so many of you appreciated that. So I wanted to thank you for that as well. Come back tomorrow to the Lord and Arts channel. We will have a fresh Brainscratch Searchlight, brand new case, not covered. And keep in mind, at some point this week, I'm trying to get another Searchlight update out for you guys. Also thinking I might do updates. I have updates on regular Brainscratch cases too, so maybe this is going to be a week of updates. I don't know. Also wanted to drop a little hint. We're going to have a little bit of an interesting turn. Danielle Hallen and myself are collaborating on a case. I'm going to tell you guys more about that on Johnny Vlogs next week. But keep an eye out for her video on Noah Davis, the disappearance of Noah Davis. Basically, she's going to start the mystery. I'm going to continue it over on my channel with an interview with his brother. We're going to see if we could try to make some sense out of this case. There is a lot of noise spinning around this case, and I want to see if we can try to figure out the truth of what's going on here. So I hope you'll join us for that, and let us know how we do with our first collaborations. It's the first time that we're trying to collaborate like this, but I'll explain to you guys why more when we get to Johnny Vlogs next week. Take care, everyone. I'll see you back here on the Lord and Arts channel tomorrow.